Doing fine? I like to be called Maha. It means dude in Sanskrit. Hey dude, hey big. It means big. The Buddhist name I was given is Mahavajra, which means the great strike of enlightenment. People who call me Mahavajra, it's a bit pompous. So I prefer the more intimate. If Maha is not stuck with another name, it just means big. So if you call me big guy, I get you. I like it. I prefer being intimate. So this is why I sit here instead of the throne, pretending to be a superior being, which is not the case. What's your name? Again. Richella.
Rich Ella.
Rich.
Like Pamela. Pamela. Rich Ella.
Rich Ella.
Rich Ella.
So, do you guys believe that suffering can be avoided in life?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you do, eh? Well, there's a not so stupid jerk once that came about. His name is Jesus. Said people was trying to get him to go heal Lazarus as fast as possible, and asked, he's not the least competent dude that we saw on earth. And he said, why do you fear suffering so much? Don't you understand my Father has a plan? Why do you think that suffering is in vain? Don't you know that there's something behind the suffering? So, of course there's a way to avoid suffering. But a great man said that there is suffering. And the way out is the way in. The way out of suffering is the way into it. So there is a way out of suffering, but it's not by running away from it. It's by looking it in the face. A not so incompetent dude called Sakyamuni Buddha also came and said there are 4 truths, and the first one is there is suffering. I said to my wife once, well, she asked me, what is the Buddhist basic philosophy? Just tell me. So, well, the first law of Buddhism is there is suffering. I don't want to be Buddhist. Well, okay. And eventually said, life is so filled with complications and stuff. Yeah, well, there is suffering. And if you accept that, then you can go on the second law of Buddhism, which is there is understanding of suffering. And the third law is there is removal of suffering. And the fourth law of Buddhism is there is no suffering. Okay, it's a process. Okay, so I didn't know I was going to talk about suffering right from the start, but you guys have experienced. So there is suffering. If suffering there is, it means that you have to address it. Must it be painful to address suffering? No. Some people develop techniques called comfortable suffering. I dig this. Sometimes it's not comfortable. Yeah, it takes time. So, when you get in a bath of hot water, you feel it warm, sometimes too much. But after a minute, you feel good. You got used to the sensation. Okay? It wasn't suffering, it was just too hot. And you got used to it. If it's not water that will destroy your body, it's just making you comfortable more. It's not cooler because the water temperature went down fast. It's because you adapted to the new information. Okay? So suffering is the same thing. Someone who did not suffer in their past, any little trinket that happens to them, drama comes. And those who went through suffering in their past, little trinket comes and says, this is minute signature. This is nothing compared to the amount of information of suffering I'm used to. So if you want to get rid of suffering, you have to face it. Just sit there, look at it, and wait for your body, your soul, to get used to the intensity of the information. Then, all there is information. Oh, this one tastes like pistachio. This one tastes like chocolate. This one tastes like shit. Different flavors. Okay? Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. Okay, so does it make sense? Make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
What's your name? You, back. Yeah, I was looking at you. Brian. I love the name Brian. I love every name. Hi, how are you? Good? when I'm done giving some information, I sometimes just break random, ask a name, crack a joke. What's great about Buddhists is that you can crack a joke about Buddha. You can go in the Christian church and say, Jesus is a pile of shit. And they want to crucify you. They want to, ugh! You go into a Buddhist temple and say, Buddha is a piece of shit. And they start wondering if you're enlightened. Because you might get this, that Buddha is in everything. Like the Jesus in everything. Well, the Christ is in everything. Jesus is man, Christ is the all being. Both are the same. The Hindus said incarnation is of Vishnu. Vishnu is the holy big thing, which is all things created. And then it gets into men, people. So they have the Krishna and the Rama and all these Hindu saints. Who has a beautiful writing on the board? I need someone with a beautiful writing on the board. You're too ashamed. Someone who is less ashamed. No, she was willing. Come on, I need one of you guys to just say, oh, I'll do it. Okay.
I'll do it, but I'm not good at spelling.
Go ahead. So, can you write 1, 2, 3? If you look, anyone that just looks at the world trying to build a new philosophy, a new religion, a new system of thought, and say, I'm going to redo everything. I'm throwing out every dogma, every religion, every system of belief, and I'm starting from scratch. Eventually, the first thing you're going to say by watching is that there's something. Okay, so number 2, say created. Number 2, created. So there's something. Obviously, it came from somewhere. So at first, there's creator. So the origin, by looking at everything, you'll say there's something created, something made from, fabricated, generated, whatever the name you use, it comes from something, I think. So there's a creator concept. And if you take the time to watch, there's an interaction between the creator and the created. So there's interaction between the three. So at 3, there's interaction. This is what the Christians did. The Father created everything. Everything created is Christ, or the Son of God, or the creation. And the interaction between is the Holy Ghost. The Hindu, they were right about everything. So they say. Brahma created everything. Everything created is Vishnu. And Shiva is the interaction force in all things. Okay. The Egyptians, Osiris is the Lord of all things. He created all. Isis, Horus is the sun. And they also have Horus, Amun-Ra, and all this thing about being all things. And there's Isis, the laws of nature, which is interaction between the sun and the creator and the people. We have the basic stuff. The Buddhists have the Buddha, which is the source of all things, the Dharma, the wisdom, which is everything, consciousness is everything, and there's a Sangha, the community, which is the interaction between the Dharma and the Buddha. They have, and everybody does this. And the Hebrew, they have Eheye, the creator, Hia, everything, and Yahweh, the Holy Ghost. Okay? Everyone who took the time to look ended up saying there's something created or manifested or tangible. It came from somewhere and it moves together. Some say the interaction is in prayer. Some say the interaction is the forces of nature. Some say it's frequency and light and stuff like that. But basically, all these religions have been always speaking about exactly the same thing, using a dictionary. Sometimes people are insecure because they try to grasp what religion does he belong to. And then they find out that there's nothing about religion. It's an observation. Okay, so what's his cult? Is this some kind of mass suicide thing? And then they go, after a seminar, they go home free to think whatever they want, keeping their own mind, not bound by any rules. So it's insecure. Because I'm not going to tell you how to think, how to behave. And there's only one reason for that, is that I'm not credible. My words have no value to you. The only thing that values you is your experience. So if you have a nice experience, you're going to appreciate what I say. If you don't have a nice experience, you won't come back. Because this is how you were created, free. So people created with a free mind said, enough with the bull crap of religion and God and stuff. We're going to rewatch everything with an objective view, and we will find the truth. So you have scientific people that look at things, and everything that exists is mass. Go sit. Thank you. I just got the information to say no more writing for that. So we got mass as everything, particles, stuff, tangible things. Where does it come from? Everything comes from energy. Big Bang, and then energy. So you have a creator process, the energy. You have a created concept, it's mass. What is movement? What is the interaction? Well, it's frequency in some aspects, and just movement, okay, measured in speed. So let's combine these two concepts, the frequency and speed. We'll call this speed of light. I bless you in the name of the E equals mc squared. Because this is only the Holy Trinity. Energy, mass, speed of light. Same thing. So scientific people are simply looking at exactly the same thing, saying the same thing that everyone has been talking about forever. The scientific people didn't want to be out of the understanding of religion. They wanted to be free of the dogmatic imposition of political powers that use religion to control the minds of population. So they said, we cannot observe everything objectively if we have a control of politics and economy, distorting what we will find out in the truth if we observe. There was time we went to the church, see the man dressed in some area, he had a necklace with a cross, and he gave you medicine for the soul, okay? Now we go in another big building, see the man in a dressing, he's wearing a white gown, he's got a stethoscope around him, and he's going to give you medicine for your soul. So instead of popping beads, you're popping pills, okay? Same shape, different purpose, still dogmatized, still getting addicted to, but while you need it, you really need it, you know? But it's the same thing. Doctors are priests, in a certain way, but using their system. But it's exactly the same thing. So the reason why I'm telling this is, why should there be a fighting between dictionary systems? There should not. We say the same thing, everyone. So I started speaking about Jesus told this, and the Buddha told this, and the Krishna told this, and the scientific discovered that, and quantum physics and stuff, and it's about the same thing. So what we learn is not about who is right or wrong. Through this we can discover that words are inadequate to transmit the truth. I'm going to take another example. You follow? Still there? Everything's fine? Words need to be attached to an experience, or they are useless. If you go to the desert, this one I tell to everyone at the beginning of every seminar. If you go to the desert in Djibouti and speak to a young guy, black, swollen abdomen, he's hungry, and you tell him, snow. I'm going to explain to you what is snow. So you use words to explain him what is snow. It's white cotton falling from the sky. It's cold. When it touches you, it becomes water. You say, what? You have any food? I mean, they're going to burn you on a pillar or ask you for medicine, but they won't get it. Snow won't make sense. Take the villagers of Djibouti, bring them to Siberia, and have them taste snow, touch it, see it falling from the sky, look at it, experience it, becoming water when they touch it. And after a while of experience, snow means something to them because they got the experience. We've been using words such as love. Someone who did not get the experience of love doesn't know what it is. But everyone has a certain experience of love. At the first basic core, their sexuality. People who never experience anything else than sex think that love is what they get when they have sex. People at a higher level have an emotional interaction with their people, with the people around them, the parents, the wife, the husband, the children, and they understand love to be an emotional attachment. It is love. But it is still a dense experience of love, but it is. And then people get friendship and they start to be so happy getting on fellowships of people and having lots of friends, and love becomes more intellectual. It doesn't have to do with sex and exclusivity between a man and a woman, or man and women, depending on your orientation or preference. At the mental level, it's more about friendship and being together. And there's no exclusivity. So there's part of attachment and exclusivity that falls away, because you can be friends with a lot of people. And it still is love. And then you elevate higher than the mind, and higher than the human mind. And you get the experience of compassion. And this is the highest experience that a human can live, is compassion. This is a state of love that cannot be tainted by any type of suffering. Okay? So love is a word that we use, but until you get the experiences associated with it, love only means what it can mean to you depending on the highest level of experience you got of it. Same as snow. If you didn't get it, you didn't get it. We speak of consciousness. Who is conscious? Who is aware that they are conscious and can define it in words? Not many. We've been using so many words in spirituality that we simply did not experience. We speak the word enlightenment. Until you're enlightened, you don't know what enlightenment is. But you can get ideas, lower vibration levels of what enlightenment could be. For some people, enlightenment is the moment that you feel the first bliss about God. Well, okay, then you're enlightened, if enlightenment for you means only that. But this is the first basic experience of any spiritualist, to fall in love with God, with supreme consciousness. In Buddhism, God does not exist, so we call it supreme consciousness. Same thing, different words. The Buddha never said that God did not exist. He simply abstained from referring to it. Some guy comes to the Buddha and asks, does God exist? And he says, no. He said, thank you. I was certain of it, but I know it's all bullshit. Thank you. He goes away. Another guy comes in the afternoon, asks to the Buddha, does God exist? He says, yes. Yes, he does. I do it. This guy was convinced God exists. He goes away. And you have a true seeker that comes to the Buddha and says, does God exist? And the Buddha says, you have to find it for yourself. Because this was the experience of the guy who was asking the question, being in quest to find out. So the Buddha always told the truth. Because the truth is not information. Truth is not an information that we can use words to transmit. Truth is an experience. You live it. I live the truth. So if you want to know the truth, you have to stop seeking outside. Reading books and getting words. But of course it's fun to read books and watch videos and go to seminars and talk to people, because we're trying to shake our structures, trying to shake our mind, so that the apple of truth will fall on us and, oh, I get it. Gravity works. Okay. Ouch, I hurt myself. Okay. So, what is it to be conscious? You'll have to relax your abdomen. Okay. I have a big swollen abdomen too, so don't be ashamed to pull it out. And breathe, okay? Pay attention to the fact that you are breathing. Eyes open or closed, doesn't matter. Pay attention, I'm breathing. That is simple. You're paying Are you conscious that you are breathing? Yes, you are? Good. Let's make another step. Look at yourself, paying attention to your breathing, and notice that you are conscious that you are paying attention. Keep breathing, but now it's not about breathing. Be aware that you are aware of something. That is consciousness. Consciousness is to stop and to be aware that you are aware. We call this self-conscious. Open your eyes. Come back. We are spending so much time out there, looking out there, eating out there, chatting out there, going to the grocery store out there. How much time you spend inside? To become conscious, all you have to do is stay aware. I am conscious. So you don't pay attention to your breathing as much as pay attention to the fact that you are conscious of your breathing. The goal is to remind you that you are conscious, not that you're breathing. Breathing is natural. You can't forget about it. Make sense? What is the soul? We define consciousness. 4, consciousness. Tori will spell it for you. S-C-O-S-S-C-I. I'm going to let you guys handle it.
O-U-S.
And 5, soul. Thank you. Something created everything, produced everything, generated everything, became of whatever. There's a creator process of stuff that was created that is now interacting, that we are conscious of. The soul is the first layer over pure consciousness. It's the first body we have. In the soul, the first instance of I am an individual instead of the whole. The soul is the first moment where the oneness of all things collapses into one point. This is me. This is you, outside. Okay? But the soul never left the oneness. It's not saying, the soul is not saying to itself, I'm not a part of all things. The soul is simply saying, I'm focusing on that thing, which is my individuality. To feel oneness, you have to simply become conscious, beyond the realm of the soul. And then you just look at all things and you know this is what you are. And it's quite easy. Few years of practice, you get it. Right? But suffering pulls you out of it. Suffering pulls you out of consciousness. What is the soul? Okay. You feel your body? Touch your legs. You feel your body? Yeah? You get that? You're conscious of it, you perceive it, you observe it. So the body is not you. He was right. The body is not what you are. You observe it. Sometimes you feel energies. People who feel energies here. Raise your hands. Yeah. So you feel these energies are not what you are. You have them. Sometimes people say, I have a soul. This is what I am. I'm the body. My name is Jerry. This is what I am. And I have a soul. The fact is, you are a soul and you have a body. It's the other way around. Okay? So if you want to shift your perception, you have to start thinking, I am the soul and I have everything else below it, from 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Whatever below it. Okay. You feel your emotions. When you have emotions, you feel them. Yeah? So you perceive them. So emotions is not what you are. You are not the sum of your emotions. You see your thoughts? At night, when you're trying to get to sleep, you see your thoughts? You're not your thoughts. You have them. The one thing that you cannot perceive is the observer. The one thing that you cannot observe or feel or grasp is this thing that does the grasping, the observing, the perceiving. This is the soul. Okay? So as you are conscious, the soul is the membrane over consciousness that allows you to grasp everything else. So what if you want to know what is the self? Self is 4, 5, 6. Okay? We'll get to that. The self. In Sanskrit, the soul and the self is Atma or Atman. Okay? It means the soul, the self. It's the same thing for them. But there's the consciousness of the fact that there's a soul. There's the soul that is the ability to become individual. And there's the wisdom of what I am beyond my mind. Okay, we'll get to that again. And it's nice that you can rewatch a video for all the information that is not written there and not in your pen. Okay. So if you take a moment to breathe and observe that you are conscious, just pay attention to that. This is your soul. It's so easy. Now it's an experience, and it's very subtle and it's simple. The fact that you are conscious, that you are able to pay attention and grasp information while watching, this is your soul. You can't feel it, you can't see it because it's the eyes that perceive. Can you turn your own eyes to look back? You would even see your eyes, you would see back of your eyes. I mean, the thing that perceives cannot perceive itself except through consciousness, not through the senses. Okay? So the soul, the simple fact that you're aware that you perceive everything else in your individuality, the human, that is the soul. So you can stop running around trying to find out what your soul is. You can just sit down and relax and exist as the self. Make sense? So for all the time in your life that you spent seeking outwards to be loved, seeking outwards for the truth, seeking outwards for the experience of self, now you have to spend this time inside. But don't worry, it's going to go fast, very fast. Because when we just subconsciously look outside, we're not empowered. When we consciously look inside, it is extremely efficient in becoming aware of the self. And you can actually feel the presence of the self. When you feel this little aura inside, this is not the soul. The soul is so big, it doesn't fit in your body. But this is the side effect of the presence of the self. When the self flows through you, you're going to feel something. A little slight something. If you don't feel it, you only need to become more sensible to feel it. Tomorrow morning, we'll learn how to become sensible to the point that we can feel any type of energy. Even at distance. You pay attention to an energy, information comes. Okay? Why do I teach all these things? They're supposed to be kept secret in temples. A few Buddhist elders hate me because I take all the secrets I paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go get over 15 years and I just throw them at anyone who wants to hear. Why do I do that? Because the Buddha on his deathbed said, I did no distinction between exoteric and esoteric wisdom, always giving the information that was required at the moment it was, for it would be arrogant, like a teacher who has the key to stop suffering, but would keep this information from the student that so much needs it. Why would we keep this information? Oh, because it's dangerous. Because people who get the information you're going to get this weekend could become great healers, or satanists, or possessive. You can actually go into someone else's body and make them do stuff they don't want. Because you're going to unlock the doors that make you think that you are limited to your physical body. This can be dangerous. I told myself, if someone wants to be mischievous and he doesn't have supernatural means, he's going to take a freaking knife and do it anyway. Okay? So if you have morality, everything will be fine. We're not giving secrets that are dangerous. We're giving secrets that are stupidly kept hidden so that you can be out of suffering as soon as possible. Out of suffering, but with courage. Because you're going to have to look at suffering. 5 minutes once in this weekend will suffer. Okay? You agree? You accept that?
Yes.
Just once. Whoever doesn't want to suffer, just take a lighter thing. When I say now you pick yourself an experience that you had to go through in your life that was suffering, don't take the worst of it. Okay? We don't want to do 2 hours therapy. We're not going to do therapy. We're not about people pouring their hearts out. You won't say to other people what you lived, and this is not AA. I'm just going to say, think about yourself. Pick a suffering you had. Oh, let's do it right now. So pick a suffering you had. And if you want to be gentle with yourself, pick a light suffering. Like you wanted to punch his face, but didn't have the courage to, and you went away. That's something like. If you have courage, just take something deeper. So you remember an experience that you really disliked, or were just annoyed. You close your eyes and you feel it. You breathe in your abdomen. So you remember the emotion of fear, abandonment, guilt, anger. You just go there, gently relax, and just get in touch with this experience emotion. And you have to breathe and pay attention. Do not try to fly away. Do not try to resolve this emotion. Do not do therapy. Do not change a thing. Simply sit there and suffer consciously. After a moment, the emotion becomes only information. Open your eyes. So if you picked up the worst trauma of your life, you might have to do this for 3 days in a row for the emotion to just become some information. But if you took something light, the information came, it was suffering, but the fact that you were conscious and not trying to flee away from it, the suffering just went, oh yeah, it was not nice, but what the heck. You get this? Understand? The simple fact of looking consciously at the information is like sitting in a bath that was too hot, but if you endure it, you'll just get used to it. Just don't hop in a bath with water so hot that it will burn you. Okay, don't go to hell. Go to the purgatory. I mean, go to places that are just not fun. Okay? So that was a sample. That was not our 5 minutes. Okay? That was just a sample. You're still alive. If you don't want to come tomorrow, you don't have to. You know, I have no power over you. I'm not credible. The only thing that is credible is your experience. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Okay? I don't teach to people how to become in a state of fantasy that everything is beautiful. And then they die of cancer because karma works. I teach to people, suffer now so that you don't have to go through cancer to get the same experience. Your soul, first membrane over consciousness. At this point, you know you're one with God. Your soul, just, it's not a computer, but it just is always impressed by the information that you receive from the human experience and gives back. So if you have a suffering that you did not face, it's going to come back. Your soul is pushing it outwards. Because the soul does not consider your suffering like suffering. It doesn't have your human system that suffers. It only has the information, pure, unaffected. It's indestructible, eternal, and immutable. The soul is perfected. It doesn't see the things that we suffer like evil things. It just sees, I want to understand this experience. So if you don't address the suffering when it comes, you're going to throw it out, it's going to come back. And you went through this in your life. Did you? Yeah? Until you have suffered a certain amount to become conscious, and then you go to another place. So if you fight the suffering, it can run after you for lifetimes. Most normal people have one glimpse of consciousness every 10 years. So every 10 years or so, the normal person will go through painful youth, then painful teenagers, and then painful new adult life, and then just go on like this. People who are consciously looking will become conscious once per day. Every day they'll do, I just gain consciousness of that. That is not an accurate way to love. I just become conscious of that. This is not an accurate way to make the other person feel loved. What we want is to discover what is love. Because this is what the Creator felt that made boom everything else. The primordial power of the universe is the desire to love. And we are motivated like this when we are beaten by our husband, when we rape a child, when we kill someone. We want to find out how to love in a very incompetent manner. When Edison invented the light bulb, he received some kind of big prize, I think it's Nobel Prize. Anyway. And he said, you invented a light bulb. He said, no, I found 99 ways not to make a light bulb. And finally it just happened by accident. So every inadequate way to address someone, to act in a way, the words we use, everything that we're just trying to find out how to get to the experience of love. It's just that we're incompetent. We're trying to find out how to love, and it's all new for us. So we try out stuff. We bump into obstacles. We receive the suffering about it. And so, okay, I got enough suffering. It's not by hating someone that I will be in a state of love. When I was 18, someone at a party took a shotgun and he killed my brother. My brother was 19, so it just went point blank and boom, and the organs just flew everywhere. And I like to tell the story in a juicy way. 3 days after the guy who killed my brother, he came to the funeral. He came to the exposition. He had to say he's sorry. It came to him that he actually killed someone. And when I saw him, I felt him coming close to the building, so I just stepped away from the tomb, from the exposition, what do you call this in English? The coffin, yeah? To allow him to come. He was surrounded by 7, 8 friends, hoping that it will be unnoticed. And there's a wait. And he just waited out. And then he's ready to leave and he's crying. I jump on him. Everybody thinks I'm going to beat him up. I take him in my arms and I strongly held him and I say, I want you to live your life knowing I forgive you. And he just cries. He said, I'm sorry, didn't want to. I want you to know that you are forgiven. And then I said a third time, I want you to know that I forgive you. You have to live your life knowing that. Now you can go. Everybody around heard that. That gave him an example of what it is to stay in a state of love. So many people live, die, are born, go to another state, plants, animals, humans. If you perceive from the point of view of your biological body that says, I don't want to die, death happened outside of me, I want to avoid that. You're going to flee the suffering of death. Therefore, you're going to have to die, probably in a state of suffering. That happened, I'm going to live on. Because my time reference is not the lifetime of my body. My time reference is not a lifetime. I'm going to take an example. If you ask a child, a 2-year-old child, to sit still for 15 minutes, it's going to be good for 15 seconds. Okay? If you ask a 45-year-old adult to sit still for 15 minutes, what the heck? Wait it up. Why is that? 15 minutes in 2 years is a completely different ratio of 15 minutes in 45 years. So 15 minutes is not long because of the sample of what is time you have compared to a 2-year-old child. When you awaken and become conscious of what it is to be the self, the consciousness, the soul, and the wisdom body, when you enlighten to this, everything is compared to the knowledge that you are eternal. Not because you read it somewhere, but because you are conscious of eternity, and if the brother dies, he's going to come back again. Don't worry. Doesn't matter. Understand this? Simply because the entire lifespan of your human life right now is insignificant and not even worth mentioning compared to the immortality of your soul. But from the ego's point of view, it's the only thing that the ego experienced. So it is the most charitable thing to be cherished. It is the most treasureful experience. Your limited life body, because from the range of experience of your body, of your human, this is all you got. It's the totality of the time you're aware of. So you want to become aware at a higher level to the point that the actual immortality of the self becomes an experience and not a knowledge that you're trying to get. And all the practice you do trying to get I am eternal, I am immortal, and you put these words in your mind, this is the tool that you use to try to get this experience. You know? So it's very good. So you got people here on the edge of awakening. And some people awakened. So what is to be awakened? To know that there is a spirit? That's not enough. Not for me. For some people, the word to be awakened is just to know that there is a spirit. So you're awakened. So then you see like 20% of the population is awakened. So if I decide to take the Buddhist definition to get another reference, when you sleep at night, you dream. While you have the dreams, you are convinced that the dreams are true. Most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. Okay? It means you're not awakened. Snooze. Okay, wait, now you're awake. Oh, it was just a dream. When you know it was just a dream, then you are awakened. So, if someone kills your brother, and you believe that, you're not awakened. Okay, get this? To be awakened in Buddhism is extremely rare. It's someone that all the suffering is just a joke. It's important, you have to care about it, but it doesn't really matter. If you cannot fix something, why worry about it? If you can fix something, why worry about it? Just fix it. Okay? So if you believe in the dream of the drama, you have. This is not awakening. But you don't awaken like pop like this and then you never go back to sleep. No. We have periods. So we say that someone is awakened when at least 50% of the events don't bring you back in life drama. The wife leaves you, the husbands leave you, the children get on drugs, the mother's going to die of cancer, stuff happens, and you get all struck and in pain and suffering. This is not awakening. You want to get to the point of awakening to see, another experience. What is the suffering about? Oh yes, I feel very abandoned. My mother's going to go away. This is abandonment. I will detach. She was never my mother anyway. Okay? This is to be awakened. So it's a big deal to be awakened in the Buddhist terminology. And it's easy to be awakened in the Christian way. To be awakened is to receive some kind of, you pay the priest, and then you go to the ritual, and then you're awakened. You know? So it depends. And I don't like to bitch Christianity. I like to bitch, but I mean not Christianity. I bitch absurdity. Okay? But then I offend a few people. So I rather make sense to 90% of the people and see 10% of the people go away and not listen to me than be politically correct and have 100% of people not get information that is worth something from them. Okay? So if I offend you, I'm not really sorry, but I'm going to say, I'm sorry. Your drama exists. I'm so sorry. Let's dream on. Okay? So, I enlightened at 24 years. Enlightenment is when, when you awaken in bed, you're still all the grease in the eyes, and you're trying to find your way through the clothing left on the floor, and you're still going like this, but you know it was just a dream, but suffering is still there. When you enlighten, you flick the switch on. Okay. And then you're good, and you won't go back to sleep. Okay? This is enlightenment. Enlightenment is just that you get this experience where your physical senses accept to submit to the soul instead of the human mind. So it's about perception. So when you hit your knee, ow, it hurts my body. I'm not going to brag about it, but I reacted because I have suffering. I'm human, I'm here, I have suffering. Some guy goes to the Buddha. Now it was this big Buddhist master. It says, is it true that enlightened beings are free of karma? And the master says, no one is free of karma. Because karma is not about sin. Karma is an action. The karma of hitting the floor is to hear the sound. That's it. The consequence of doing this is that I have to accept the consequence of it. I do an action, something happens. If I hit a table at a restaurant very hard and the table breaks and I hurt my fist and some baby on the next table just wakes up and the parents are upset. The karma of hitting too hard is simply that I hurt my fist, table is broken, owner of the restaurant is mad at me, and baby is trying to understand what just went on. And the parents are mad. This is why we say karma is suffering. Because of lack of responsibility. But karma does not mean suffering, nor sin, nor retribution. It means action. It's a concept of cause and effect. That's it. Our interpretation of karma is extremely egocentric. If I hit the table too hard, the owner of the restaurant won't care about my fist that is broken. Won't care about the baby crying or the other guys. He's going to care about the table. I am only going to care about my fist that it hurt. I'm going to just send the hell the owners that is unhappy, and I'm not really going to care about the baby's weight. And the baby doesn't care about the owner, doesn't care about my hand, it just wants to go back to sleep. Our interpretation of karma is extremely egocentric. It happened to me. It is dramatic. Make sense? Breathe. So what is wonderful about what we're going to learn this weekend is that you don't have to take my word for it. What I say doesn't really matter. You can base your experience on, you can base yourself only on your experience, and you can find a way to make it happy. So I'm only going to stimulate you with experiences, not wording. And the words I've been using since the beginning is just to trigger stuff inside you, because the words that I use right now, you did attach experiences to those, so they make sense to you. If I would start to speak to you of quantum physics right now, you'd say, that's interesting, throw the book away. Wouldn't make sense, because we never touch particles. Small break. We have to breathe, take water. You have to take water even if you're not thirsty. Drink a bit, because it's about the energy working. When I speak to you with my mouth, I speak to you with my soul, my heart, my mind. Stuff is just pouring into you. So just take water a bit.